Well, guys, this is my final update on my current hospital stay. Um, Let me refresh your memories on what happened. I was admitted Sunday. Um, Came in with directions from my podiatrist. They uncovered an ulcer that was infected. It had a hole that when you put a Q-tip in, it touched the bone. Um, it was a large um, infected area on my foot, where between my toes and on top of my foot, and it covered a lot of area. So with the hole, it was definitely a concern, and as a diabetic, an amputation risk because I'm not only a diabetic, but I'm a diabetic with neuropathy, and with neuropathy, and as you know, all diabetics with neuropathy have some type of compromised blood flow or circulation to the foot. So it's a matter of healing. Usually, an injury like this is an amputation of toes or partial foot amputation. So I got here on Sunday, emergency room. I spent the night in the emergency room, and the next night they sent me to the observation floor, and from Sunday and emergency room observation floor, they had me on antibiotics, several different antibiotics, 24 hours. I mean, it was a serious situation. They had the podiatrist here. They had infectious disease here. They had the regular staff doctor here, and of course, a host of nurses and PCTs, um, and all concerned about my foot. They were excellent though in their treatment and their hospitality. Uh, and, but it's still when the podiatrist comes in and tells me it looks very bad, I recommend amputation and just get that thing off of there. Now that's direct quote. Get that thing off of there. And when my podiatrist sent me in, his outlook was grim. So and when the house podiatrist here, who works with my podiatrist, said this in her opinion that this is as bad as it gets, and she I would just take it off, and I'm like, wow. And so but then but I said, but it's up to you. You can take it off, but if it stays on, you're gonna have a month of antibiotics through a pick line, and then there's no guarantee, and still after there, they may have to take it off. So I'm very concerned, very concerned. But you know what? I said, you know what? For one thing I know, they didn't do an MRI yet. Okay, so they moved me to the fourth floor. The first thing, MRI. They took me down to the MRI, and guys, no matter how many times you get an MRI, it doesn't get any better. It sucks. So after the MRI came back, for some reason it wiped me out. Maybe because it was taxing on my mind. So I was like, I was through dealing. I slept for 12 hours. Then later on that day, the podiatrist came in, and naturally, of course, she says the MRI confirms every fear I had. Um, every fear I had. We scheduled the OR room. We're waiting for a date. I want it today, but it may most likely it's gonna be tomorrow. And and like I said, I would just cut it off. And it's like, but you can, like I say, go with the month long pick line with the antibiotics and still have to come back for amputation. And I said, well, I want to. Of course. What do you think I said? I want to save my foot. Excuse me about that. I was overexcited. But I said, I want to save my foot. At which point, she scheduled, like she informed me she's going to go ahead and schedule a time. She's waiting for a time. So just be prepared. Oh my God. So around 10 a.m., the nurses came in and they said, "Oh, they're coming. Get ready. They schedule you for 12 o'clock for for your emergency room proceeding, and and it looks like you decided to keep it. So what they're gonna do is go in and biopsy the bone, and debris it, which debris it means cut out your tissue that's bad. And then luckily for me, she put a graft, which is very important because as a diabetic, you don't want anything getting into the room. So this is Tuesday by now. I've been in the hospital 2 days. And, I'm taking a good positive attitude. Like this is the time to rest. So we go in for the biopsy, an emergency room procedure. Um, they they put me under, but just before she said, "Are you sure you want to keep it?" I said, "Yes, I'm sure." And yet, all the paperwork says they're going to amputate. And I'm like, all of this is wrong. And so they're scrambling around to change the paperwork, to change what's in the computer. And when she comes, I believe she had something to do with it, but that's another day and another time. But when she comes, she says, "Okay, so you sure you want to keep it?" I said, "I'm definitely sure." And she said, "Well, when the results come back, we'll discuss it further." So they do the MRI, and they do the emergency room procedure. I wake up and I'm back in I wake up and I'm back in the hospital room. Everything's neatly wrapped, and I'm feeling around to make sure they didn't take my toe off, and luckily they didn't. It's still there. Uh, so this is Tuesday. So um, they telling me, well, um, this is Tuesday night, and the infectious disease doctor come in, and he says that well, we're waiting for we're waiting for the results of the biopsy, and at which time we'll know what type of antibiotics to give you in a PICC line, which means a hole in your chest or wherever they put it, where they could put intravenous drugs in you for a whole month. And right there, that's gonna would be miserable too. But I wouldn't do it to save my foot. So so we're waiting for the results. Nothing came in all day Tuesday, so I'm here to Wednesday. I'm waiting, it never comes. The podiatrist comes in. She says, "Well, I understand you want to save your foot, but I'm on your side. But I would have just taken it off. But mind you, you still may have to come back and get it taken off." So then she leaves. Her sister wraps my foot up again, and I'm waiting. So 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock came, and